Okay, for those of you getting ready to run the marathon, whether it's next week or a month out, I have this great clinic that I put together for my runners, and I recorded it just for you. So in it, I talk about what to do race week, race day, and post-race, so you can have a successful and fun marathon. So enjoy lots of my tips, tricks, and Deniseisms, and let me know how it goes. Or what to do race week, race day, and post-race. So again, I'm Coach Denise, and I'm getting ready to run my 25th Chicago and 116th marathon, unless I sneak any more in. But I just want to share a lot of my tips and tricks and little marathon hacks, and also get you guys excited whether it's your first or your fourth or your 117th. So first off, I also wanted to say that a lot of these tips and more are in my book, and I have some for sale. Me, You, and 26.2, Coach Denise's Guide to Your First Marathon. You can get it from me today, or you can also get it on Audible, and you can take me during the marathon. You can run with me, or you can get on Amazon. Okay, enough advertising. Let's get down to business. So first off, has everyone replaced their shoes by now? Because if not, it's okay. I recommend you get them right away, but wear them as much as you can, even when you're not running. Even just wear them around the house. Wear them all day, every day. It's not too late to replace them. A lot of people are like 3 weeks before. There's absolutes in running, but there's wiggle room. I've experienced it's okay. Just like nothing new on race day, sometimes you have to do new stuff on race day. It just minimizes bad things from happening. But I've worn new shorts on race day. I've tried new nutrition on race day. It's like, don't stress out, okay? Okay, so Chicago Marathon Week, you can find me at the expo. I'll be at the Girls on the Run booth, and I'll be at the Tailwind booth. And then Friday and Saturday morning at 6 a.m., we're gonna do a 2.62 mile donut crawl, and we're gonna start at the Bean, and then we're gonna run up Mount Roosevelt, and then back to the Bean, and then go to my favorite donut shop. So that's on Friday at 6 a.m. and Saturday at 6 a.m. Plus, I'll be running the race. I'm gonna start in L in the last corral. L for Let's Get This Party Started. I'm gonna start with a bunch of my runners and my new friends that I'm gonna make. And then I'm gonna run ahead and try and catch as many of my runners as I can. I'm a big believer that running should be fun too, if you hadn't noticed. Okay. The other thing is, for those of you watching, and those of you here, if you haven't gone up Mount Roosevelt, make sure to do it race weekend so you know what's coming. If you've run the Shamrock Shuffle, that is Mount Roosevelt. That's the only hill, and it's only a hill because it's like mile 25 and a half, right? Yeah. Okay. And then the other thing that's good is to get a massage in the next few weeks, and then the week after the race too. And if you haven't got one yet in your training season, now is a really good time, even the week of. And plus you have more time because you're in taper. You have so much free time. And let your massage therapist know that you are doing the marathon, so they'll know like which muscles to get. And also, you've been beating your legs up for 17 weeks now, so they are worthy of getting treatment. And then also make your massage appointment now for the week of and the week after. And if you don't know a good massage therapist, ask one of your running friends who they use. And if your running friends don't use a massage therapist, go to your local running store and ask them who they recommend. If you're in Chicago, you can message me, and I would recommend Elite Healthcare. They've kept me running since 2010. They're on Lincoln and Diversey. Okay. So now I'm going to talk about like what to do race week, and then I'll go into race day and then post race. So race week, it's really important. One, don't try anything new, like no skydiving, no yoga if you've never done yoga. And then you want to focus on sleep and hydration as best as you can. So the days leading up, like Chicago is on Sunday, right? So you want to even electrolyte load, whatever electrolyte drink of choice you have. Like I even do that Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then hydrating throughout the week. And then again, get as much sleep as you can. You want to be like so rested for race day. And especially Saturday, sleep in as long as you can. because nobody sleeps in race day. I don't even think the elites do. So that week of the race, hydration and sleep, and then also go back and look at your training log if you have a hard copy one. That's what I still use. Or even go back and look at Garmin or Strava, whatever you use. Look at how far you've come. Look at like maybe the highest mileage week you've done, or the fastest mile you did, or even like just being injury free once for a season. So it's the only time you can look in the rearview mirror. So race week also, try to go to the expo on Friday and not on Saturday, because Saturday you kind of want to be off your feet and getting your mind ready to be in the game and having an awesome race. So I actually go to the expo on Friday. It's almost like Great America. I'm in line before it opens because I'm so excited. And plus on Saturday they may run out of the gear size that you want, and you've worked hard, so you got a reward and you want to make sure you get the right stuff. The other thing is most of you have finished up your 20 miler, or you're going to do it this week. A 2-week taper is totally normal. It's fine. It's okay. It's just that those 2 weeks you run even less mileage than what the plan had. So now that you're in the taper though, your immunity is really shot. So it's important to load up on vitamin C. And one thing I do is I get the Naked C Boost drink, and I start having those like one a day. And it's also right after the marathon too. Start like keeping up with your vitamin C the day of, the day after. Because it's like you just accomplished something amazing. You don't want to be sick and miss work. You want to walk around with your medal on, right? Okay, and so we're still in race week. So the other thing is, race week, you want to lay out everything you're going to wear for Sunday. You don't want to be doing it Saturday night. And you don't want to be taking phone calls from your cheer squad. Where should I be at on the course? Where should I park? What time are you going to get at this mile marker? You don't want you want to be the caller, not the callee on Saturday. So that race week, figure out where you're going to have your cheer squad at. And also, like for me, whenever I have my cheer squad out on the course, you really don't need them until I would say mile 21 or 22 on, because I hate to tell you, the race doesn't start at Grand Park. It starts at mile 18 or on. That's coming up later. But you want your cheer squad in the latter miles. And to help you get to your cheer squad, use the energy of the crowd by putting your name on your shirt. Even if you don't have time to do the screen printing, I just get, like for my runners, I get bright colored duct tape and then a Sharpie. And all you gotta do is run a marathon once next to someone with their name on their shirt, and you don't have it, and you're like, what about me? So Chicago has about 1.7, I don't know what, I'll have to count this year, I'll have time, 1.7 or 1.8 million people cheering for you, so take advantage of the cheer squad. Or take advantage of the cheer squad you don't know, and then have your cheer squad at the latter miles. So you're gonna lay out what you're gonna wear race week, you're gonna figure out where the cheer squad's gonna be. And I tell my family, my brother would meet me at mile 20, and I'd say runner's right, to have them on the runner's right or runner's left, and then at a true mile marker sign, because you know they're gonna be there. You know the mile markers are gonna be there. And then also, you want to figure out where they're going to be at, where you're going to have them at, because it's so much easier for you to find them than for them to find you, because they're like this. And everyone looks the same. And you're more like, you know exactly who to look for. They're going to be on whatever, the runner's right, whatever mile marker you pick. And kind of stagger them. So it's hard to explain unless you've experienced it, but when you see someone on the sidelines who's like near and dear to your heart, your heart lights up like E.T., right? Yes. But when they're not there, it's crushing, right?
Or when they don't see you and you're screaming,
yeah! Yeah. And so kind of going back to that, when a stranger yells your name, you get energy even though you don't know them. Okay. So you're gonna decorate your shirt, you're gonna figure out where your cheer squad's gonna be at. Another thing to do is have extra nutrition and hydration. If you're not going to use what's on the course, have extra with your cheer squad out on the course, because it's even happened to me, it just happened to me in Tokyo in February, that I lost my last gel while I was I'm running, and because I was racing it, I wasn't running it, but I lost my last gel and it fell. So just stash extra with your cheer squad. Okay, and then the other thing is you have a lot of time on your hands, including right now, so start watching like inspiring movies. They don't have to be running, but I like running ones. So there's Spirit of the Marathon. There's Brittany runs a marathon. We're going to see it tomorrow night. There's also like the Boston Marathon documentary. There's a really funny one called Saint Ralph. That's Saint all spelled out. It's really funny. Without Limits is about Steve Prefontaine. That's really good. There's another really good documentary called the PBS Boston Marathon Challenge, where they take everyday people like Smoker Bowler and they coach them to do the Boston Marathon. And then they also talk about like what happens to our body and our mind through the training process. So start getting inspiration from outside if your tank is empty, because you've been inspiring yourself and motivating yourself since you hit submit. So sometimes we need to get it from others. That's why the Star Corral and even the Expo is so electrifying, because you all feed off each other, including me. Okay, so yeah, or even watch funny movies like Tommy Boy, Uncle Buck, Bridesmaid, whatever. Just get out of, oh my God, there's this big black cloud of a race and I don't know how it's gonna go. Okay. And we all know not to wear cotton on race day, even though I did in that picture from 1994. See what I mean? Nothing in that shirt I bought at the Expo. The shirt I wore at my first marathon. Nothing new on race day. I didn't know there were rules, but it's okay. Okay, your cheer squad. Oh yeah, and then also have your cheer squad sign up for runner tracking. I don't think the Chicago Marathon has posted the app link yet, but you will get an email from them. But that will help. That will help too, because every time you pass a chip mat, they'll get a notification. Oh yeah, for your cheer squad, also figure out a place to meet them after the race. Because you want to give them hugs, and they're going to want to hug you, and you don't want to be wandering around aimlessly. So what the Chicago Marathon has after you cross the finish chute, of course you're going to go like this, and then get your medal, your beer, your Mylar blanket. But then you're going to come out, and there's going to be a family reunite area, and within that, they'll have like big lollipop sticks with the letters of the alphabet. So pick, I don't know, pick D for Dynamite and Denise and meet them there. Pick a letter, or pick an intersection that's near your hotel, or just find a place ahead of time for where they should be on the course and where they should meet you after. Okay. Okay. Oh yeah, so another thing is marathon photo, you can order from them ahead of time, right? But you will continue to get emails from them for maybe a year about your race, and they will continually go down in price, so something to think about. Maybe buy the ones you really want, and then the ones that, ooh, I kind of like that, and then wait till later to get those. But just a heads up. Because then you have more money to sign up for your next marathon, right? Okay. Well, you guys are already here, so you're not flying in to do the race, but when you are flying to do your next marathon, make sure to pack in your carry-on whatever you're gonna wear, and then whatever your specific nutrition is, because you don't wanna recreate that when you land. And then also a good thing for when you're traveling, when you're flying to a race, is to wear compression socks on the flights. And then a lot of my runners, they'll wear compression socks or tights the night before their marathon. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay, so for Chicago, there's 28 stations on the course. And if you're going to use the nutrition that they have on the course, which is going to be water, Gatorade Endurance, Gatorade Squares, or blocks, and then bananas, make sure to try that now, the Gatorade Endurance especially. If you can't stomach electrolytes, what I tell my runners to do, because you can't have all water during the race, you could flush out your electrolytes, and that can be fatal. That's hyponatremia. And then you don't want all electrolytes because that's too much sugar, and that would be not good, GI issues. So I tell my runners that can't handle electrolytes to just take a sip and spit it out. So at least you're getting something. Okay. Oh yeah, another really important thing that they just started last year, I don't remember this before, but Chicago, you cannot wear a hydration vest. And you cannot go into the corrals with a bottle that has fluids in it. So if you have your own concoction with a powder or already made drink, bring sealed water bottles with that powder. And make it once you're in the corral. They made my runners dump it out. That was not good for my first timers, but they relayed to their cheer squad to replace it. Yeah. And even if you don't have a cheer squad, there's 1.7 million people cheering for you. But you'll feel it more if you put your name on your shirt. Okay. So who's like super anxious right now about the race? Oh, and it's totally normal. That's what taper does. Okay, so now we're going to talk about race morning, and then afterwards I'll open up for Q&A. So race morning, do your normal thing, your normal nutrition that's worked on all your long runs. And then once you're all dressed, take a picture of your race day outfit and text it to your cheer squad and post it to social media. Because you never know who you're going to inspire. Okay. And the other thing I recommend, a lot of times during a race, our GPS watch goes off before the mile marker. And the further into the race, it goes off sooner, it seems. So one of my little running hacks is to wear like a sports watch, non-GPS. This is what I used to do. I used to wear an old Timex, and I'd hit them both at the same time. So then when I cross a true mile marker, I'll hit the Timex watch, so I see my exact split. It's type A. That's well, I'm an accountant. Very type A, but I'm an accountant. Yeah, because otherwise, and then the worst thing though is with the GPS watch a lot of times, you still have, like 3/4 of a mile is a long way when you've run 24. So you think on your GPS watch that you're almost done. So you really want to see the truth. The other thing the other thing is when we're running these races, do we run the exact route that it was measured at? So that's why, and plus in the beginning it's really crowded, so you're dodging and weaving, doing extra credit. So yeah, if you want to know your exact split, and Catherine started doing that, yeah. So the other thing with Chicago, and I think Berlin has it too, Chicago will have a dyed blue line in the center of the street, well, throughout the course, and that will be the shortest, that will be the true 26.2. So if you can, follow the blue dotted line. Yeah. And it's so exciting when it's finally painted, I can't wait. Okay. Oh, okay, so the other thing I forgot to mention about race week is to figure out the corral cutoff times. Because Chicago means business. Like you don't want to have to, what happens in the corral, even if you're doing a 5K, we burn so much energy waiting for the gun to go off. So imagine if you were supposed to be in the first wave and you got to wait for the second wave. That's a half hour of energy you burn that could have taken you forward. So I tell everyone, even if it's a 5K, a 10K, treat your race start like a flight time. So you want to make sure you're at your gate with enough time that you're not stressed running with your luggage. And the Chicago Marathon will send you, they'll be sending an email with the cutoff times for the corrals and also like what gates to go through. They're uber informative. Okay. So race morning too, also whether it's rainy or not, I recommend like body gliding or Vaseline on your feet, and then anywhere like your clothes hit your skin a lot to prevent chafing. And if it's raining, we don't know what the weather's going to be yet on race day. I don't even look until the night before because it can change. And again, that's burning energy, like stewing about, is it going to rain? It's like the three bears. Is it going to be too hot, too cold, or is it going to be just right? Well, let's just wait. Yeah. So if it does rain, I recommend like body gliding and Vaseline, and even more like have your cheer squad have your Vaseline and body glide on the course. And also at the aid stations, they'll have sticks with Vaseline on them, so you can just grab it from them. That's what we used in the olden days. We would use Vaseline. Okay. And then race morning, it might be chilly. You don't know. So what I do is I just go to Salvation Army and I buy probably something I donated. I'll just buy like a zip-up jacket, because that way, once I want to take it off, if I keep it on a mile or two, I just have to unzip it and I don't have to take my hat off or my headphones. Or like I'll take an old race shirt and I'll cut a V, so that way if I don't want it anymore, I take it off and I don't have a wardrobe malfunction. I just take it off. So yeah, bring throwaway clothes for the start, or even if you have an old Mylar blanket from a prior race. And when you get the Mylar blanket at the finish and you're sick of it, save it for your next cold race start. Recycle. Okay. Another thing I recommend the morning of the race is to jog. I know it's the last thing you want to do. You got to save your legs, but jog 10 minutes before the race to help with the plumbing. Because is that not the worst? You have to go to the bathroom during the race. Yeah, so jog and go super slow. And the other thing, if you're not in like a charity hotel room, banquet room, or one of the big running groups banquet room, if you're using the porta potties in Athletes Village in Grant Park for the Chicago Marathon, I recommend that you drop off your gear bag and then get in the bathroom line, and then once you're done going to the bathroom, get in the bathroom line again, because when you want to go, the line will be too long. So that I learned from one of my runners. Okay. Yeah, drop off your bag, get in the bathroom line, and then go again. Oh, the other thing is, if you guys run with your cell phone, either for music or to take pictures with your cheer squad and Elvis will be at North and Wells. You don't know what you're going to see out there. It's so much fun. But I recommend putting your phone on airplane mode to save the battery, or bringing a battery case, because I take a lot of pictures when I run. My friends know that. So I actually run with a battery case and I put my phone on airplane mode. But if you listen to music from your phone, download those songs, download your playlist to your phone. Because you want to take pictures when you cross the finish line. And if you have a dead phone, you're going to have to borrow someone's phone, and that's okay, you'll make a new friend. Okay. So that is race morning. Oh my God, we're not even in the race yet. Okay, I think we're finally in the race. Yay! Okay. So ask any runner like what they would have done different for their first marathon. And I would say, and most of them would say, I should have started out slower. So what I tell my runners is, you need to decide when you want to be the passer and the passee. Do you want to pass everybody in the beginning with cheap free energy? Your legs are rested. You're all like horses out of the gate. Let's do this. Do you want to pass everyone then? And then, you get to 18, 19, and everyone's starting to pass you. I've been there. It's demoralizing. In the beginning, you're like, I am awesome. And then it's like, God, I suck. So that's why I tell everyone, the race does not start at mile 0. It starts at 18 or 20, or it doesn't start at mile 0. So I want you all to bring me with you on your run, and I'm right on your shoulder. I'm telling you, Denise said it doesn't start till 18. I gotta slow my roll. And it's a really smart race. to start out reserved and let those other people pass you. And think about it, like the last 20% of any long run, any race, that's when it starts up here. So wouldn't you want to have some spring in your step to help when, like, why have your legs trashed and then your mind telling you this sucks? So save that spring. And so some of my tricks of the trade on running, it's called a negative split when you run the second half of the race faster than the first half. So some of my tricks are, you have homework, you have lots of time to figure this out, but know your 5K pace and your 10K pace, and don't do it until the last 5K or the last 10K. And then some of the things I'll also do is, say I'm shooting for a 5-hour marathon. I will run with the 5:15 pace group. I'll start with them because they will keep me slow, and then about 10 or 12, I'll break up with them. Thank you for helping me. And then I just slowly start increasing my speed. Because for me, it's really hard for me. I get too stressed trying to run even splits. So I'll start with a slower pace group than the goal pace that I want. And then sometimes, like I've listened to Dina Castor's book in a marathon. I took her on my run. She was awesome. I listened to her till mile 18, and then I put my dance music on. And then I did a marathon last Saturday, because that's what we do. Every weekend we do a marathon, right? I listened to a country song until mile 12, and then I put a dance song on, and I listened to it over and over, and then I put my favorite dance song on at mile 24. So you can listen to a podcast for 6 or 8 miles, or a book, and then start listening to music you want. Also, if you do listen to music, make your playlist. You have time, make your new stuff now, because you don't want to listen to the same thing you've been listening to for 17 weeks. And if you need any suggestions for good dance songs, I'm your girl. Fast beat, yeah. Okay. I forgot where I was. Negative splitting, yeah. And you just have to run a negative split once, and you'll, like, I only had to run a positive split maybe 2 or 3 times, which is bad. I kept putting my hand on the stove and not learning. And now I know, because it's such a great feeling. I mean, as you start passing people who didn't listen to me, your confidence builds up, and it's counteracting that negative talk. So we're all gonna negative split. Yeah. Okay. So the aid stations at Chicago, there's 20 of them, like I said, and then the finish line that counts as one. So what I do, unless it's crazy hot out, is I skip the first aid station because I just came out of the gates, and even some of my runners, they'll run with a water bottle out of the start corral and then toss it. So I skip the first aid station unless it's crazy hot and humid, and I skip the last one, because I can walk, talk, skip, drink, whatever when this puppy's over. So then the second aid station through the second to last, what I do is I go to the end of the aid station, because it's the beginning, we're like Pavlov's dog. We see an aid station, we're like, oh my God, I gotta drink. And everyone's like rushing to get to the first like volunteer. So I forgot, going back, as I come up upon an aid station, especially in the big crowded marathons, I come up on an aid station and I try to go to the center of the road, and I put my hands up wide, because we're all precious cargo, because people are coming at you all directions. So I take up space more than I normally do. Like, okay, don't hit me, and I do say that, I'm like, don't hit me. And then I go to the end, because those volunteers at the end, they need loving too. So I'll get my drink at the end of the aid station. And the other thing I do is, when I first started marathoning, I would run the whole marathon. And then I would see people walking, and I would say, what the piss, this is a race, people. That's what I'd say internally, I didn't say it out loud. But then it never failed. Once I hit Comiskey, which I think was mile 20, I never look at the course maps, any race. I think it was mile 20 or 21. My knees would lock up, and every stride was excruciating, lifting my legs. So then I heard about Jeff Galloway, Run Walk. So now I I add a walk to every aid station. I'll speed walk, and you gotta walk with a purpose. Like you gotta pee and you can't find the bathroom. Not like you're walking to the dentist office to get a root canal and you don't wanna go inside, right? Like, walk with purpose. And so I'll speed walk a minute at every aid station. And what I found is, I feel like that breaks up the momentum of running 4+ hours continually. And then a lot of my runners don't want to do that. And I recommend, do it until the race starts. Do it until mile 20 and then run the whole time. And you can't start walking when you have to. You have to walk when you want to. You can't, it's too hard to restart if you do the walk breaks at miles 16 or 17. You gotta do it from the beginning. At least from my 114, because 115 is next week. For my 114 marathons, that's what I've learned, is I walk when I want to, not when I have to. And I walk with a purpose. Like you gotta pee and you can't find the bathroom. Okay, and also the volunteers, thank them as many as you can, because they're up earlier than us. And especially if the weather is nasty. Because, they're supporting our crazy habit, and they're not getting body heat from standing there like we are from running. So yeah, thank those volunteers. And I don't know if you know, at Chicago, I think it's maybe mile 6, there's a band playing, and right when you turn the corner, and the guy has a sign on the ground that says free hugs. So give and get a free hug. It's gonna be all right. We're not winning the money. We're not winning a sponsorship or anything, so sneak some fun in, if you can, or your next one. Like, I am the prize this one, but the next one, have fun. Like, okay. I will be giving and getting a free hug. It may be on video. Okay. Oh, the other thing with Chicago is there's a lot of turns, and it's kind of crowded in the beginning. So another thing I do when I'm coming on a turn, a tight turn, is I take up space. Don't hit me, don't hit me. So kind of run with your arms out. Run spaz like a spaz. You're allowed to run like a spaz. Because you know the rule, you run hip to nip potato chip. That's when we hit tight turns and aid stations, no, run like a spaz. Don't hit me. Okay. Take up space. As we should in and out of running. We're allowed to take up space. Okay, aid stations. Oh, the other thing, at the aid stations, again, don't have all water and don't have all electrolytes. So I'll do what, this is if we have normal weather, not crazy hot. But I'll do water at one aid station, and then I'll do Gatorade at the next. So I'll mix it up. But again, do what works for you. Okay. All right. Who's ready for the wall? I am. So you know how they say when you're hydroplaning, don't fight the wheel. So none of us, we're not gonna fight the wall. It's coming, you're gonna waste energy fighting it. Be ready for it. I have tricks, I have little tricks of the trade for that too. And also, the wall is really what makes the medal in the shirt worth it. And it's also why only 1% of us do this, right? And think about those, even in our runs where some of the track workouts and the 20 miler, even like a 14 miler, you hit a wall. The wall isn't only in the marathon. And think about how much it sucked, you wanted to quit and you got through it. It's the same thing as race day. And that miserableness will go away. And again, it's why the shirt and the medal are worth so much. So be ready for it. So one of the things I do when I hit the wall, I do this thing called the gratitude alphabet, where I name people and experiences from my life for each letter of the alphabet, and the why. Like why I'm grateful for that experience, or why I'm grateful for that person. If I forget someone or an experience, I start all over. If I get stuck on a letter, I start all over. And before you know it, your feet follow your brain. Plus, I feel like your brain can't be in a state of angst and gratitude at the same time. And yet, I also want you to remember when you hit the wall, remember it's gonna pass. This too shall pass. So Denise is on your shoulder. The race doesn't start till 18. And Denise is on the other shoulder. This is going to pass. You've done worse than this. You got through it. And it's going to be so worth it. So just, it takes just as much energy to tell yourself, like, this sucks. I want to quit. I'm never doing this again. As it does to say, I'm going to do this. I can do this. And where's the finish line? I'll see you soon. Like, you get to control what station you have on in your head. So yeah, make it positive. Or the wall's coming, like, oh shit. Oops, sorry, I gotta edit that. But that's fine. None of us like it, but let it pass. Like, accept it and move on. And it's not gonna do any good wishing it away, because it won't wish away, just fight through it. And again, think of why you signed up. If you guys are running for a charity, think of who you're running for, and think of all your donors, and think of your cheer squad. Like, think of all the people that are supporting you on the course, away from the course, people that are following you. And also, like I said, draw on things that you've done in your life that you didn't think you could do, and you fought to do it. Yeah. And also know we all hit the wall. I don't know, I have 2 runners, and I've been marathoning for 25 years. I have 2 runners who've never hit the wall. I think that's a 0.0001%. So be ready for the wall. You have time now. Like, what are you going to tell yourself when you hit the wall? Nice to meet you. I don't want to stay with you very long. Right? Okay. And the wall, like I said, the race doesn't start till 18 on. That's why it's so important to have your cheer squad like scattered in those ladder miles, that ladder block. Okay. Okay, so you're coming up on the finish line, and don't hit your watch when you cross the finish line. Like, marathon photo is going to be all over the finish line, and you don't want a picture of your head, do you? You want this, yeah, where can I sign up again? So don't hit your watch till you cross the finish line. Not even, like, because they're still taking pictures. Like, you cross the finish line, they're taking pictures, and they're even taking other ones. Yeah. Okay. So that's the race. It was awesome, wasn't it? Okay, so after the race, the last thing you're gonna want to do is walk around. And the more our body moves, the less likely your muscles are gonna tighten up, and you're gonna walk like Frankenstein. Like, after I did my first marathon in '94, I lived out in the suburbs then, so I slept on the drive home, and then I think I showered and went to bed, and then for a week I walked like Frankenstein. Well, I also didn't know about training then. I didn't know there was a method to it. I ran 20 miles the Friday marathon weekend, so yeah. That might have been the Frankenstein walk, but what I recommend to all my runners is the marathon is on Sunday, so Monday and Tuesday, jog 15 minutes easy. Like, you don't need to race, but I swear your legs will feel better. And then I also recommend an ice bath, or, like, for my runners, we'll stand in Lake Michigan with the water mid-thigh, and you only need to do either standing in Lake Michigan, it's nice and convenient, you have an amazing view, 15 minutes, and an ice bath for 15 minutes. So it's like sacrifice, reward. Walk 15 minutes, Monday and Tuesday, and then ice bath on Monday, Tuesday, or just Monday's fine. And then also get a massage, but not a deep tissue. Whoever you go for massage, wear your medal so they know what you did. And that way they'll know not to go too deep. And then also here in Chicago, on Monday, definitely on Monday, I know that Nike Town and Fleet Feet will have metal engraving for you for free. But I do recommend you go early, even before they open or start it, because the lines are crazy long, right? And also pick up the Chicago Tribune, because as long as you're under 6.5 hours, your name will be in the newspaper. Look, Mom and Dad, show your boss. Yeah, wear your medal to work day. There's a lot of grit in that puppy. And again, you never know who you're gonna inspire. That's what I love about the marathon. is that, so a lot of my beginner runners, like folks I'm coaching to do their first 5K or 10K or half, I secretly have them, now they're gonna know. Well, no, they'll be signed up for the marathon when they watch this, but I have them volunteer on the course because one, you get a sweet Nike jacket, and two, they'll see people, they're bound to see someone like them, and they're like, oh, if they can do it, I can do it. So, little whispering going on. Yeah, okay. And then again, go back how I said, right now is a good time to load up on vitamin C. Also after the marathon week, like load up on vitamin C because we don't have any time to be sick. Okay, so one last thing and then I'll open it up for questions. So, well, two things. For my first timers, let's see, my future second timers. Okay, the only thing I recommend, now it's all, actually to all of you, everything I've said tonight is just recommendations. I'm not an expert, I'm only sharing like what's worked for me. And what I've done is I still listen to people's advice. I listen to everyone's advice and then I figure out what works for me. And then I filter out the rest. But for my first timers, I recommend that you don't, try not to put like a time goal on yourself except a good time. I don't know if you remember that TV show, Good Times. Because you have so many other marathons to race and you can never, ever, ask my many timers, you can never recreate your first marathon. So take it in as best as you can. Yeah, like take pictures with your cheer squad, with Elvis. Give a hug, get a hug, because you can't. I mean, I've run 114 marathons, and the only thing that's come close to my first marathon is when you run your first boss. So that's like 100 and what? I can't even do the math. 112 marathons that were nothing like my first. So that's why my first timers, try not to put any pressure on yourself for a time goal and just have fun. And also I'm right here, it doesn't start till 18. Yeah. Okay, so my many timers, if you have a time goal, well, all of you, if you have a time goal and you don't get it, I want you to be kind to yourself because one, there's always another race, and the two things you can't control on race day are your stomach and the weather. So let's say, or maybe you started out way too fast and then hello, positive split. And just shake it off. You're at your training peak and then just go find another marathon 3 or 4 weeks later and you don't run much mileage those weeks between. Again, you're at your training peak. You shake it off, get massages, and you just focus on, you refuel your body and your mind ready to do it again. And then also, I feel like we all have a skewed view of our performance because we're surrounded by runners all the time. And if you really think about it, 1% of the population does a marathon. So what about the 99% of the people out there that don't even hit submit, let alone they haven't worked out since gym class? So that's where our view is really skewed, and you need to give yourself credit for hitting submit. No one's telling you to lace up your shoes, get out the door when, you know, on the weekend when everyone else is sleeping in or, well, doing what they want and not sacrificing for a marathon finish line. But it's part of, I mean, people that sign up for a marathon aren't slackers. We want the best out of ourselves. But I just have a litmus test for myself on my performance. It's not about the clock because you're letting one moment in time define all this effort and sacrifice. 1 second is going to define who you are. No. So what I do is, even the race I did last week and the race I'm going to do next weekend, I just tell, when I run a race, my goal is to make as many friends as I can, take as many pictures as I can, and hopefully inspire someone who's looking at my pictures or out on the course that this is fun and they can do it too. But when I am in race mode, I just tell myself, if I keep going when I want to quit, like where else can I dig? So just be a little kinder to yourself when you don't hit that clock time. I don't know if you've ever had to take a qualifying exam like the GMAT, the ACT. I am not a good test taker. Like, it took me 4 times to pass the CPA, but it didn't mean that I don't understand accounting, and I didn't do well on the GMAT, but it's not our intelligence. It should be effort-based, not clock-based. That's all. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Your performance should be effort-based, not a digit-based. Yeah. Okay. So I think that was everything. If you guys have any questions, I'm here. Oh my God.
Have you always ran with music?
Yeah.
From your very first?
Yeah, my first one, the first 3 I ran with music, and I would see people without. I'm like, oh my gosh, what do you listen to all this time? But I have done some marathons without, and what I do is I get caught up in my breathing. Because whether I'm running easy miles or a 5K race or a 100-miler, I always make sure my breathing is controlled, so I get caught into the breathing. Yeah, but now I also sometimes, like I said, I'll listen to podcasts or audibles. I have a lot of things in my fuel belt for distraction and motivation.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I just said it because I know when I was running my first marathon, and I had told my son, babe, you know what, you shouldn't use your headphones. He said, I shouldn't use my headphones. Why? And I said, Pops, we could talk. It was our first marathon. We're running with him and Angel. He said, talk. What are you talking about? And then his friend tells him the night before, no, bro, I'm not going to want to use music until my 18th. Then Justin tells me, Mom, you know what? I'm not going to use music. Okay, then. We didn't use music, and I've never used music for a marathon because the spectators get me going. Because when I have music on, I tend to go too fast.
Well, that's why I put the country on first.
Okay.
Yeah, and I tell my runners, like, if you want to take in the crowd, that's great, but if you train with music, bring the music anyway and put it on when you hit the wall.
Cool.
So just bring it as a contingency plan.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, first of all, as a first-time runner, I really appreciate what you've shared. Kind of helping with some of the anxiousness, I guess. So as you're running, I keep imagining just floods of people. What if you need to stretch? What if you just need to kind of stop? Is there space just to kind of get on the side and do that?
Yeah, what I recommend, like, if you want to, even if you're doing a run walk, or if you want to stop and stretch, or you're having a wardrobe malfunction, you can't get your gel out, your belt, whatever, just like put your hand up and kind of be obnoxious, like, and then slowly move over to the right or left. Like, don't stop in place. Yeah, so like put your hand up and then slowly get over to the side of the road.
So the sides have plenty of space to be able to.
Yeah. And I want you to email me when you're ready for marathon number 2. Okay. Any other questions? Martha.
So I was running a longer distance last weekend. I've normally been drinking since the sport, the cycling sport.
Yeah.
So I've been used to that because the issues with the stomach and all that, which is like mood and everything else.
Yeah.
But so they're gonna have Gatorade, and I'm kind of torn. Like, should I switch or what do I do? Because I know we can't bring our own stuff like ready-made, and I normally do that like the night before.
Yeah.
When I do a longer run, I've been like, I got my bottle ready, it's ready to go in the morning, you just strap it on and go.
Yeah.
But since we can't do that now, should I have like a pouch with like the tablets that I can throw in the water and get the water?
So should you use what's on the course or what you've been using race day? If science and sports, that's already sealed.
Yeah.
And if that's what you've used in all of your long runs or majority, stick with that.
Okay.
If you don't have enough on you, again, when you hit the aid station, sip the Gatorade Endurance and then spit it out.
Okay.
And also have your cheer squad have some science and sport. Because the science and sport, you don't have to add water to it.
The gels, no, they're so liquidy, I can just like
Yeah.
drink them. But
Yeah.
then there's also the powder or the tablets, just like the new tablets, they can drop into your water.
Oh,
So
what have you used in training? The tablets or the?
I do like the nutrition, the gels, like the liquidy nutrition from them, and then the powder or the tablets in the water. So I kind of like alternate one or the other. But I don't, I try to have more water in between than just like the product itself, because I don't want to have like overload on the electrolytes.
Right.
Like just like the right amount, where I know like not overdoing it just because it's there.
Yeah.
They're doing Gatorade. I don't know.
Well, and the sugar, because doesn't the Gatorade endurance have higher sugar than maybe some of the stuff?
Yeah, I know it.
You don't want your body to crash out.
Right.
You're gonna
Yeah.
do gel and the Gatorade endurance.
Right.
And I bring extra tablets with me, and then I use the water at the aid station just to fill my water.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I would stick with what you've been using, the powder and the gels.
Yeah.
And again, your cheer squat.
Yeah. 'Cause then I use
Have
it-
extra, and even if they already they have the bottle already made to give you with the water in it.
Oh, like to switch it out.
Yeah, and have them freeze it if it's hot.
Yeah. Okay. Less.
Oh, that's the other thing. If it's hot on race day, which 2007 was bad, and the night before, my coach, he recommended that any of my cheer squad on the courts to have them have like collapsible coolers with Ziplocs of ice cubes. So every time I hit, that's what I finished before they cut it off, and I would just go ice station to ice station. So another thing is, if it's really hot, I run with a Ziploc in my shorts, like right here, and then as soon as I see a cooler, I trick or treat and grab ice cubes. So I go ice cube, you run with ice cubes in your hand and it keeps your body temp down, or have your friends and family have 8-ounce bottles of frozen water in a cooler, and you run with that in your hand. When I don't have ice cubes, all I think about is how miserably hot I am, and when I do, I focus on, thank God I have this, and when it melts, I have ice cold water instead of blah. I forgot about that. Okay. Any other questions? What's your favorite marathon to sign up for next? Okay. Well,
What marathon did you do last weekend?
the Last Chance Boston Qualifier.
Oh, cool. Where's
Yeah,
that?
it's in Geneva, Illinois. And so Boston opened on Monday for people that had 5 minutes or less time. So I did it on Saturday, and I made it. I qualified, but I'm not in yet. I don't know if I have enough minutes.
Denise,
But
how
again,
do you do that?
but
I mean,
again-
you know, she did that marathon with all the beautiful scenery, and then she said another. I thought, she did a marathon a week away, and then I look at the time. I thought, what the heck is this woman made out of?
well, part of it is I am a freak of nature, and then I also think like after the accident, which is why I started coaching, I felt like God saved my body to help other people with my running. So a lot of those 114 marathons, I'd run with other people to help them.
That's
And I love running.
Well,
Well, the other thing is like I'll do all these races, and I don't race them all. Like if I ran them all hard, I would be injured all the time, and I would be very crappy.
You did 2 races. One was 5
Well,
hours and less than 5 hours. one was less
Patagonia,
than
I
4
took
hours.
pictures, I Facebook Lived. I did not race it. Yeah. I ran it. I didn't race it because it was too. Okay. Well, yeah. I'm blessed. I'm a freak of nature. Yeah.
Maybe you covered this, but what are your thoughts on like days leading up, like the Thursday, Friday before the race day, like as far as like carving up and all that? Like,
Oh, I forgot to talk about carbo loading. So hopefully you guys practiced on all your long runs, like what to eat the night before and the morning of. So for me, I talked about race week where we should be hydrating and focusing on getting a lot of sleep. And then like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, include like your electrolyte drink of choice too. So for me, when I'm racing the marathon on Sunday, I start carbo loading Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And I also avoid all I have is simple spaghetti with red sauce, no butter, like simple carbs, no salad, no oils. Yeah. But that's what works for me. Once I did have pizza the night before, and it worked. And again, nothing new on race day, but I had pizza the night before I ran Boston because, so this just shows we burn a lot of energy focusing on I want this time. What if I don't get this time? I got to get this time. I've chose. So this was like way back, 2007, I think. 2007, because my dad got a plaque for me. And I didn't train as much as I normally do for the Boston Marathon. I was working hard with a coach, but I didn't get all the training in. So I said, well, I'm going to go to Boston anyway, and I'm just going to run it. I wasn't going to race it. And so the night before the Boston Marathon, I had pizza, which is not like me. It's spaghetti, red sauce, 1 glass of wine. And I had pizza and beer, and my friend is like, Denise, we gotta go. I said, 1 more beer. I did. She had to drag me out of the bar. And I ended up running my fastest Boston ever.
So that's it, guys.
Because I didn't have any stress on myself about my time. That was part of it. So again, like running a negative split, once you do it once, you'll know that this is the route to go. And again, going into a race without like putting so much pressure on yourself on the performance, and just say, I'm gonna get my best, and that's enough. That's beyond good enough. But I really want you guys, like, I'm high-fiving you now. Like, think about how many people don't even do this. So just try not to be so hard on yourself if you don't hit that 1 second you want, because it doesn't define us.
That's what one gal told me when I was running my first, to have 3 goals. What you really like to do, and if you don't make that, another goal, and then another goal.
Yeah.
So you'll meet one of them, you know, the 3rd goal is to finish,
Yeah.
past the crowd, not standing up, so.
I ran in like 5:40 last year, and I said I want to do it again and run slower because I felt like I missed out on so much. Like,
Yeah.
to me, I'm doing it for the experience. I think that's what my time is, like hit 6.5 hours, but I want to like take in everything.
Yeah.
That's why, because there is so much.
We're gonna be giving and getting free hugs. And a selfie with Elvis. Yeah. And high five those little kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Power up sign.
Right? And so, I don't know what you're doing, but save the date, 10/11/2020. Okay. Thanks, guys. A lot of the tips, tricks, and Deniseisms that I share at the clinic, you can also find here in my book, Me, You, and 26.2, Coach Denise's Guide to Your First Marathon. You can find it on Amazon and on Audible, and I'll have a link at the end of the video.